A double duty overload, SVG chasing history, and one of NASCAR's best road courses tee it up in upstate New York. This weekend's going to get spicy. Let's break it down. All right, folks, welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin. I am CJ, a lifelong NASCAR fan and chef, bringing you plenty of news and analysis from each race weekend, as well as a few tips and tricks from my kitchen to yours. Today, we are going to break down what is on tap for Watkins Glen. We're going to start off with news of the week, get into the schedule, talk about who is pulling double duty, a whole list of them, and then we'll give you who to watch and what is on the menu for the weekend. So let's dive right on into it and catch up on the news of the week. Well, there's good news to get things started off with. Stewart Friesen, after that horrific crash and 9 days in the hospital, has finally been released and returned to his home. Yes, he is still in a lot of pain and still has a long way to go to a full recovery, but at least he is now home with friends and family to take care of him and out of that dreaded hospital. So good news all around for Stewart Friesen. Happy to hear that news. We definitely wanted to hear that. Austin Hill has been granted a playoff waiver, but here is the catch. He's losing all of his points and any future playoff points that will be earned. So all of those 21 playoff points that he had earned already through 3 wins and several stage wins are gone, as we know, and any future ones that he may earn through the rest of the regular season will not be valid. So he will start the playoffs on that waiver with a 0 on the playoff point board. And finally, in the news of the week, a very short news segment this week, there is not going to be an increase in horsepower to the next-gen car, at least for the remainder of this season. Elton Sawyer was on Sirius XM earlier this week and said that the horsepower increase is not going to happen this year and that it is a 2026 initiative that they are definitely going to be working on. So, no changes to the next-gen car. And speaking of that next-gen car, it seems like it was the punching bag this week on all of the big podcasts. Dale Jr. very disappointed in his recap of the Iowa race when he got to talking about the next-gen car. And Kevin Harvick also jumped all over it this week, which was surprising. Normally Harvick's a rah-rah cheerleader for NASCAR. So yeah, pretty big names jumping all over the next-gen car. And guys, even with the big names saying that, I don't think NASCAR is likely to make any major changes to this car. What we've got, they've invested a lot of money into. And like I suggested in the post-race recap of Iowa, maybe we need to be adjusting our perspective of how we're viewing this racing based on what we're getting with the car. Just my opinion, guys. I know I still have my issues with it, and apparently everybody else is getting vocal about it. And this comes on the heels of a leak earlier this week that NASCAR has really been trying to tamp down any negative publicity that is said by any public figures that are related to NASCAR, drivers, owners, team members, the like. All right, so that does it for a pretty brief news week. There wasn't much going on, and I did cover a lot on Tuesday's episode after Iowa. So let's dive right on into the weekend schedule. A very, very busy weekend from Watkins Glen International. All 3 major series, plus the ARCA series, are going to be there. I'll put the schedule up here for you guys to take a look at. Major things to know. There's an ARCA race Friday afternoon. That's going to be at 2 o'clock. And the truck race will also be Friday afternoon at 5 on FS1. Saturday, the big ones that we're going to be paying attention to, of course, will be practice and qualifying. That will begin at 12 o'clock on True TV. We're still on True TV for practice and qualifying. You can also catch it on Max if you don't have access to True TV. And then finally, of course, the Cup race will be on USA on Sunday at 2 p.m. from Watkins Glen. Looking forward to it. Now, we have got a lot of drivers pulling some extra time this weekend. We'll go ahead and kick things off with who is going to be jumping down to Xfinity for Saturday's event. First off, Shane Van Gisbergen is going to be getting some extra time in the number 9 car for Junior Motorsports. Michael McDowell will be jumping into the 11 for Kulik. Remember, that was Josh Williams' ride that is now vacated. And finally, we're going to see Connor Zillage doing double time in reverse. He's going to be going over to the Cup Series on Sunday in that 87 for Trackhouse. So you'll be seeing another Red Bull driver out there this weekend to contend against SVG. And then the Truck Series is going to see a slew of Cup drivers show up for Friday afternoon's race. Kyle Busch is going to be in the 07. Ross Chastain going to be in that Nice Motorsports ride that was vacated. He'll be in the 44. And Connor Zillage, once again, getting some extra track time, also going to be driving for Nice in the 45. Christopher Bell, as we had talked about earlier this week, will be in Stewart Friesen's number 52 this weekend. Chris Buescher is going to be driving the 66 truck as well. And then finally, not a double duty, but one personal favorite of mine, Parker Kligerman is back in the Truck Series driving the 75 this weekend. 2 of the last 3 Glen races have had a pass for the lead on the final lap, including last year's pass for the win, Chris Buescher overtaking SVG. Now, Chris Buescher is the only driver in the next-gen era to have top 10 finishes in all 3 races at the Glen. Of course, last year with the win over SVG. SVG is chasing road course history. He is tied with Jeff Gordon for the most consecutive poles and wins in a row, right now at 3. So he's going to go for number 4. If he does win again, he will join Dan Gurney as the only other driver to get their first 5 wins on road courses. So definitely one to watch. As far as average finish positions go in the next-gen era, SVG, Chris Buescher, and Chase Elliott all have top 10 average finishes. So they're definitely going to be ones to watch this weekend. And of note about Watkins Glen and manufacturers, Toyota has not had a win at the Glen since 2017 when Martin Truex Jr. did that. That is their longest active streak at any active Cup track. So who do I have my eye on this weekend? Well, obviously, those guys that have that top 10 finishing position with SVG, Chris Buescher, and Chase Elliott. They're going to be at the top of my list this weekend. But people that I'm also going to put on my list will include Kyle Larson, of course, Christopher Bell, who is becoming a road course ace here lately, Tyler Reddick, always good on the road courses, Ross Chastain, of course, Michael McDowell, and AJ Allmendinger, all names that we should be watching as we head into practice and qualifying this weekend. But I'm also going to have a little dark horse out there, and I'm going to say Bubba Wallace will be one to watch here this weekend. They've done really well on road courses. They're really improving and putting a lot more focus on his continued improvement. And that team is just clicking on all cylinders, overcoming all sorts of factors to produce great results here in the past couple of weeks. So what's on my menu this weekend? Well, of course, when I think upstate New York, I immediately think about buffalo wings, and I am not going to pass up an opportunity to make some wings. But I've already made wings for you guys on this channel. In fact, I'll link right up here the how-to on how I make restaurant quality wings that you can do at home. And I make that with just a basic buffalo sauce, which is all well and good, but I want to show you guys something different. So I'm going to leave it to you guys to pick the flavor of the weekend. Go ahead and do me a favor and put in the comments down below what kind of wing flavor you would like me to see, and the most requested one that I get is the one that I will go with for the weekend, and I will put together how to make the wing sauce for it. So that's going to be it for our Thursday preview edition of Watkins Glen. Definitely a race that I'm looking forward to watching. Always a good one every single year. Great crowds, great views, and good excitement on the track generally. Hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the Sunday night recap and when I talk about your crowd favorite wing. Until next time, guys, stay happy.